along with the Super Dirt Series and a host of other ones. We'll give him credit. I believe he was one of the drivers, left Super Dirt Week after 4 days of racing and headed up north, hit Cornwall Motor Speedway on the way home as part of their Super Dirt weekend with his number 91. So after being at the track 4 nights, he's like, yeah, what's one more? Let's go have some more fun.
Yellow lights remain on. Caution lights remain flying on the field as they come down across the orchestrator's perch right now. Jim Weed, Kenny Marshall. Did a great job all Eastern States weekend long. 65 years of flagging duty between those two drivers. We keep saying add the 23 that Little Chief Jerry Enright has, also to his credit, taking us all in from this Eastern States weekend. Flagging a medical fight right now in a medical race that he is in. Prayers, prayers, prayers for Little Chief. Yeah, the Marshal making tracks bout out of the hallowed ground. Usually means business when the Marshal steps on the front straightaway. Let's see what he's looking for.
Well, we have some guys that don't want to get in line. I believe that's what we're looking at here. Guys up front are good. They listen. I know how the race director feels. Been there. Actually, usually on a daily basis. All right, everybody get your Chromebooks out. We're going to start today. And they all stare at you.
He's going to shake his finger at somebody. Here you go. Here you go. You, there, you, out. Okay, get over here, right here. Stop right now. Let's have some words, young man. You, just go, just go. You don't need to listen to this. Go.
I think they're telling him he's got to go to the rear, and he does not want to go to the rear. I believe that's what's transpiring.
They told him that last time he stopped for directions.
Yep.
I don't think Josh Allen is there to come to his defense. No, he didn't reach in and pull the keys out, did he? I don't think Josh Allen knew what was happening there, and he stopped right behind him because he was pretty close to him.
Yeah, he just didn't want to.
He just told him, go, 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 because you're going to go a lap down. You don't belong there. You don't have to stop to listen to that conversation. You're just caught there as a victim of circumstance.
Yeah.
Or circumstance, as Bugs Bunny would say.
All right, ready to go back to green here as we'll come to green with 177 laps complete. So lap 177.
Caution lights get blown out. Here we go. Johnston, Toyota Tundra pace truck to the inside. Back to green flag racing action. They march out of turn number 4 down across the stripe. Jankowski back up in the number 1 spot. Watch Mark Johnson, the White Knight, make a move to the hot side of Batman Peter Britton right now. They are side to side, and Johnson making a bonsai move down the back straightaway right now. Wants to make a break into the top 4 running action. Caution lights back on the speedway. Forget everything I just said.
Car in turn 4.
Don't.
It is Edwards.
Now the 21, Gary Edwards the third. No, he's driving away. He's okay. Where are they going? A right front flat. Edwards tire. Okay. LJ spotted a right front flat on the Interstate Batteries 21 of Gary Edwards the third.
So pace here was, we were running a pretty quick pace the first 100 here, but the last 15 or so have been a grind.
That tends to happen.
It
Long
does.
distance events. Well, it's not totally flat, but it's getting there. He lost about half the oxygen out of that tire. He's looking through the glove compartment for a can to fix the flat right now. It's just not happening. And he is speeding up to the inside, so he no doubt will be heading up Bucky's Road. Gary Edwards' pit crew standing by with a right front tire. He's coming in for a quick Nike change. The 21 car on pit road right now with a flat right front tire. All right, they're welcoming him into the pit stall. Crew goes to work.
All right, caution lights out once again.
Time winding down, 20 more circuits. Last 10 must be run under green. Edwards drives away. Brand new Hoosier, brand new Nike on the right front.
He better go. He's going to go. He better go.
Go, young man, go. Quick like a bunny. Here we come at turn number 4. Back to racing action, back to business we go. Brewerton back around the top side. Here comes Matt Shepard. Shepard rim drives up to the outside of the rung. He runs turn number 2. Pulls up alongside of Lehner. Lehner going fast down the back straight. He does not want to get passed by Shepard, but Shepard's got the outside lane all to himself. Drives up to the rim shot down there in turn number 3 and 4 this time. He's on the top limb coming out of 4. He's gotten past Lehner, and now he's going after the Batman.
So Shepard had fallen back as far as 7th in this one. Now he's up to position number 4. Mark Johnson took a look under Lehner. Couldn't get that done. He slammed the door on him pretty hard there. He got his fingers caught in it. But it's Alex Yankowski out in front.
See what happens.
That does hurt. Off at turn number 4, Alex Yankowski leads the way and is pulling away here from Tyler Dipple. Peter Brewerton on the podium to as we complete lap number 183. So 183 are in, 17 laps to go.
Yep, Dipple's got nothing for Kid Rocket down the back straightaway. The Halmar International 84Y car. The Friesens are going berserk back there in the pit area right now. They want their driver, their designated driver, to talk to us in victory lane out here tonight. Dipple still second, Brewerton third, Shepard fourth, Lehner fifth, Johnson sixth, McLaughlin 7th. Cozy is still in spot number 8. Attaboy for Cozy. Parejo 9th and Phelps is 10th, followed by Stengel. Danny Tyler up to spot number 12. Borgevich 13th. Go down is 14th. Schilling 15th. Comier is 16th. Frieden 17th. And Timmy Hindley 18th in the lineup.
So again, we're quickly getting to the conclusion. 15 laps left before we wrap it up. The 2025 edition here of Eastern States. And young Alex Yankowski looking for one of the biggest wins of his career. If he can get it done, it'll be back-to-back victories for the Halmar Friesen team. Off at turn number 4, Alex Yankowski, blistering pace here. Nearly a straightaway already on the number 1 of Tyler Dipple. Dipple exits turn number 2, and Yankowski almost all the way to turn number 3.
Yeah, Yankowski, no doubt his next effort will be put on to the back markers, and you can just about see him coming out of turn number 4 right now. Yankowski pedaling proud down across the stripe in the Halmar 484Y car. Why? Because that's his number. All right, still in spot number 2 is the number 1 of Tyler Dipple. Good run for him this year at Eastern State so far. Time nearing the ending of this event right now. Brewerton still third. A lot of elbow space between the top 5 campaigners. Super Matt parks himself in spot number 4. Look for him to come alive. If he's got something at all, he's going to roll up his sleeve and throw it on the table PDQ as he runs back there in the number 4 spot. Jack Lehner back there from Saratoga Springs, strong in the number 02 mount, back in slot number 5. Then Johnson at the spot number 6. That's Mark Johnson out of Gilroy, running the top 6 campaign down the back with Max McLaughlin having a good run tonight in spot number 7. And Frank Cozy still in spot number 8. Top 10 run for him. That is just absolutely awesome.
That is awesome. The veteran campaigner, again out of Wind Gap, Pennsylvania, holding his own here. The strategy may pay off. We will find out in just about 10 more laps as Frank Cozy holds on to that position, holds off Anthony Perego. One car into the pits, but we stay green here. And now traffic becomes a factor for your leader, Alex Jankowski, as he goes into turn number 1.
Nick Root drives up into the number 18 spot right now. Nicholas Wood back there, the flat of Kirby number 30 car. He's got some sheet metal bobbling in the breeze. The mount has broken on the door panel, and that thing's kind of blowing him up a little bit because air means everything on an experience like this. Door panel leading way over on the Route number 30 car. Now Jankowski comes up to the back markers, marches by the rock. Chris Schultz, he's side by side with him in turn number 2. Take a look down the back straightaway. Jankowski going strong. Still in spot number 2 with 3 cars now between them is TV Tyler Dipple. Britton back there in 3rd, and now a big gap of space back to Lehner's challenge in spot 4, and Shepard has dropped back to spot number 5.
So they work their way off the corner here, down the front straightaway. And Jankowski has been great in traffic. He is rolling right now, but Dipple and Peter Britton, your battle for second has caught some slower cars here, and now this may be an opportunity for Peter Britton as he watches back there from position number 3. Can Britton get on by, grab a runner-up finish? We'll find out here. Into turns 3 and 4, Dipple opens the door, slips up off the bottom of the racetrack as he went to go by the angler number 22, couldn't get there, so now he'll fall back in the line, and this has quickly allowed the 0-2 of Jack Lehner to close in. So Lehner there now makes it a 3-car race for the runner-up position. Jankowski, he's done gone. He is done checked out on this field.
He's running away and hiding a lap traffic right now. Time winding down. Just 6 laps left to go for the running of the 2025 Eastern States 200. Jankowski's on the outside of turn number 1 right now. A bevy of lap traffic between them. He's almost a half a lap ahead of second place running Tyler Dipple. Dipple back there in the number 2 spot with Britton right there on his heels. Lehner's right there. The big gaps of space they had have now come down to a matter of feet as they march down the back straightaway. Shepard still back there in the number 6 spot. 7th is still Max McLaughlin. Cozy still 8th. Perego 9th. And Jimmy Phelps in spot number 10, coming up on 5 laps to go for the running of the Eastern States 200, and the lion's share of the $250,000 worth of purse money here this weekend for this great race here at the Orange County Speedway. Here's Jankowski down across the stripe. Straightaway lead that he's got on second place running Dipple, just exiting turn number 4 right now.
Yeah, and Lehner now feeling the heat a little bit here from Shepard as this group catches one of the slower cars. They're all getting bunched up nose to tail down the back straightaway. Tyler Dipple a little bit stronger that time off of corner number 2. Shepard, he took a look to the inside of Lehner, couldn't make the pass, but Lehner quickly got back in line. Up front, your leader off of corner number 2 as time winds down. He'll have 2 to go next time by. It is all Alex Jankowski. Can he add his name to the record books here at the Orange County Fair Speedway? Working it down through turns number 3 and 4. 2 laps to go this time by.
He's had some experience here on the hard clay. He's always done well. Jankowski climbing up to the tail side of Henschel right now. He'll go a lap down the lineup before the checker flag comes out. Marching down the back straightaway for the final tour coming up on the white flag next time around.
So working their way down into turns number 3 and 4 goes Alex Jankowski. The Helmar International 84Y straightaway, nearly half a lap lead here off of turn number 4. White flag is in the air. 1 to go for Alex Jankowski.
Jankowski, you don't know where number 2 place is. Marches down to the inside of Henschel, get by. 5/8 of a mile remain for a trip to victory lane for Kid Rocket from Covington Township, Pennsylvania. Alex Jankowski in a turn number 3 and 4. He can smell the paycheck already. Here he comes on a turn number 4. Your 2025 Eastern States winner is now going to march to go. Checker flag comes out. Alex Jankowski.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode number 3 of Monday Night Modifieds with Matt and Mike. I'm your host, Mike Mallett, joined alongside my co-host, Matt Smith, and we're here. We're ready. It is a snowy central New York. I don't know how Whitney Point is right now or the Triangle area there, Matty, but it has not been a fun day up here in central New York.
Yeah, just as snowy down here as it probably is up in windy city of Oswego, New York for you.
Yeah, it's not been a fun day. I think we got about, they said Oswego got 17 inches around here, probably 12 to 15, seeing all those numbers. But, first, let's just kind of start out with our weekend. We had a good time this weekend. Maddie and I got to hang out and do some trap shooting or sporting clays, as they call it. And I learned a valuable lesson that I am not very good still at that. But, Maddie, you had a better weekend than me.
Yeah, you did all right. It was pretty cold, but at least we started the season off with a little success, got a win under our belt.
I think it was Eric Leak carrying you.
Yeah, his back's still probably hurting.
No, but good times down there. What is it? The Whitney Point Sportsmen's Association.
Yep.
I had a great time. Great guys. I really enjoyed hanging out with those guys. And a lot of guys talked racing. I think we talked racing as much as we talked trap shooting. Yeah,
there's a big following for it down in our area, most definitely.
I think it was fun, too, to share all your nicknames, kind of get their feedback. Whether we're going with Miniman, Matt, the Catman, Cat Matt. I mean, I think it was kind of split. I think everyone kind of wasn't really sure which way we should go.
I don't know. I don't know how Matt can get tied into so many nicknames.
It's easy, man. It rhymes with a lot of stuff.
I guess so.
Was it Riggs? I love your cat Riggs. I stayed with Maddie on Saturday, not with him in the spare bedroom, but Riggs, man, that cat's a cuddler. I got to tell you, he was up on the bed. Like, I felt like I was at home.
Yeah, you probably did. There's a whole bunch of cats there. There's, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, 7 to choose from in there.
But no, good times this weekend. And obviously, thanks for having me down. And I appreciate it. And thank all the guys at the club. I had a great time shooting, even though, again, I'm getting better. I was better this time than I was the last time I shot with you. So that was an improvement. I got to work on my gun holding skills, though. Like I said, my shoulder, nice big bruise over here on my arm. So I got to be better. I got to be better.
Yeah, comes with time. You'll be all right.
Yeah, I'll get there. I'm sure we'll do it again when we get the opportunity here. So, a lot of things going on. Obviously, we just watched the 2025 edition of the Eastern States 200. And I kind of want to start today's show with what's your favorite big event, or what are some of the people out there's favorite big events? Everyone that knows me knows that my favorite big event, of course, is Eastern States. That is my favorite event of the year. So much fun going down there. I get to go back kind of where I started as a writer, and one of the places that I announced my first year announcing. So I love going to Middletown, love going to Orange County. Every year that they announce that there's going to be another Eastern States, I'm pumped. I'm excited. There's nothing better for me. I know Tim Pitts is either people really, really like Timmy, or they're not a fan of it. I love working with Tim. He's very easy to work with. He taught me a lot back in the day about how to slow down, talk through my laps, and do all those kind of things. So I got a lot of respect for him. So for me, it's a lot of fun. By the end of the week, though, you can tell my voice is pretty much shot. 6 hours a day, 3 days in a row. I'm not really in that kind of shape anymore. I'm a shape. I'm round, but not my voice per se. Talking that much on a PA. When you don't do it all year, your voice kind of wears out a little bit. So it was tough, but we got through it. We got it done, and it was a good time. But talk about some of your favorite big events. Obviously Eastern States is my favorite.
Yeah, I would say I'm not like a big event, so to say, like big venue. Not that these two tracks aren't big, but I like the going down south of the Volusia and the Altex, and then also Charlotte. Those big venues are really, really cool to go to, provide really good racing. Super Dirt Week's cool, but in my opinion, I really like the Charlotte deal and Volusia.
Yeah, Charlotte's cool. I think Charlotte, is a lot of fun. I mean, there's something about 20,000 or 19,000 people being there watching the race, and that is cool. And you get the big three. I mean, you get the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars, World of Outlaw Late Models, and, of course, the Super Dirt Car Series, big blocks. And we've seen some good racing there for the big blocks, passing guys coming from, a little bit deeper than we maybe have in the past. So I can't complain with that. I know Charlotte, and it's a beautiful facility. Let's just say that. I mean, Charlotte is the number one facility I think we go to. Volusia is gorgeous. Obviously, Port Royal with the Short Track Super Series is beautiful, but definitely Charlotte's A1A when it comes to dirt tracks that our cars get to go to. Now, this year, Mansfield, who knows? I mean, Mansfield
has the potential to be that. We'll see. Again, we've talked about Mansfield in the past. We see some questions coming in. Don't worry, guys. We'll get to some of those once we kind of get moving here. Speak of the big events you've competed, I think probably the Outlaw 200's got to be up there on the list for you.
Yeah, I really enjoy going to Fulton. Seems like that event every year is tougher and tougher to race at. Just the 358s are a tough deal as it is, and then the level of competition there is really, really tough. Not that any other series race isn't, but that spec racing is just a tough deal. You're down on horsepower compared to big blocks, and it's just it's tough. There's just no way around it. You got to be on it all 200 laps.
Yeah, different deal. And I know some guys, we talk spec racing. You just kind of said it. I mean, spec racing's tough. I know if you talk to Matt Shepard about spec racing, it is not his favorite thing to do. He does not like spec racing.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say big blocks are any easier. You know what I mean? When you get that close in horsepower, it throws a monkey wrench in a lot of things. You think, jumping up from Sportsman into a 358, it's just going to be a little more horsepower, but it's a rude awakening when you go from something like that to a 358. Doesn't mean the racing's any easier by no means than a big block.
Yeah, and we got a guest coming up here in a little bit that we can probably talk with that about. Of course, Matt Williamson going to join us here in about 8-10 minutes. Come on and have a chat with us. And one of the questions we can probably ask him is, what do you prefer? I mean, he used to consider himself a small block driver that ran big blocks. Now I think he's probably I'm a big block driver that runs small blocks once in a while. He had a pretty good year with the big blocks, winning championships at Ransomville, Land of Legends, and of course, Supercar Series title. A couple of things in the notes here. Felix Waugh came up early in the show before we came live, so we'll answer that one for you. Does he break through and get a series win? I'll just answer that with one word. Yes. I think Felix has the talent. He was close to Charlotte. Unfortunate circumstances there, but I think we see Felix Waugh get the victory lane this year.
Yeah, he's a contender. Seems like top 10 pretty religiously on the series and just about wherever he goes. And, to race, I think he was around 100 races this year. That's just impressive in its own. But no, he's the real deal. He's legit. He can definitely win on the series.
Yeah, a couple other questions. One of the news items we were going to talk about, if you have a chance, check out the front page of DirtTrackDigest.com. Kenny Bruce just put up a note story from Motorsports. A lot of answers to some questions in there about your Pennsy region kind of guys, and we'll talk about more of that later. Herlock is out on the 9. Yeah, that's correct. Matt Shepard announced that literally, I think, about 45 minutes ago. There had been rumblings of that happening, and I think that's a couple sponsors that Matt has that have gone kind of a different direction. But I think that's the name of our sport. I think it's tough any time of the year or any season, to keep sponsors long term, right? We have the iconic sponsors. You think of Budweiser and Auto Palace and those kind of things, but you get fortunate if you get a sponsor that stays for a long time. But we know that's really not the norm anymore in modified racing.
Yeah, that's like you said, that's kind of the iconic thing. You get a sponsor that stays with a driver long enough to where it becomes kind of like a home base, and you think of or you associate that driver with that business or that team. So that definitely be a big change this year in the mod scene.
Yeah, seeing that car without Herlock Auto and Speed on it will definitely be different. But we've, again, and I don't think this is just a grassroots racing level sponsor change thing either. I mean, we look at NASCAR, you look at NASCAR used to have iconic drivers, and iconic rides. You think of the Tide car with Darrell Waltrip, or even Ricky Rudd later on. DuPont on Jeff Gordon's car, Mr. Goodwrench on the side of Dale Earnhardt's car. But we don't see that anymore. I just don't think that's the game anymore in racing, either whether it's the money or what it is. We just don't get that kind of relationship anymore.
No, I agree with the cup stuff. It seems like they bounce around more and more. It probably does have a little bit to do with the amount of money they got to pump into that. So that's probably why they don't continuously have one sponsor all year. But yeah, I definitely agree with you.
Yeah. So more questions coming in as we get derailed once again on our topics, etc. Somebody asking, why is the biggest engine that I see guys running is 467 when the limit is 480? Why does nobody run a 480? I don't even know the rules. I'm not a rules guy, so I wouldn't know if that's allowed. Or I know at Delaware they have rules where you can run a big block and basically run what you're wrong, but I don't know about what our modified series rules are, etc.
I don't want to spew any misinformation. I don't know not really sure what the max cube is for the big block stuff, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. That might be a question for Matt when he jumps on.
Yeah. Yep. Then we got a question about small tracks, bull rings, Accord. I think we've kind of hammered that one. I love Brewerton. I love Thunder Mountain. They're bull ring racing. They're tight. They're fast. And Maddie, by experience, you're probably in the same boat with me there.
Yeah, I would say that, Accord races a little smaller from what I've heard. And, racing at Brewerton and Thunder, they both race, in my opinion, a little bigger than they look. You look at Brewerton and it looks really small when you're racing, but when you get on it, it kind of races a little bigger, and so does Thunder.
Yeah. Other questions? So we have some discussion on the rules. Yeah, again, I'm not sure. We can ask Matt Williamson that one. We'll see. Rick Ryder chimed in, obviously the voice of Thunder Mountain this past season. He called you Fast Matt, Rick. It's not Fast Matt anymore, okay? You just got to know it's either Cat Man, Cat Matt, Minivan Matt, whichever one we go with. We can talk week 1 about what that's going to be, but
you guys are killing me.
We've got Steve Ovens. We've talked about the Gerald Hares. Unfortunately, I've never been to the Gerald Hares. I would love to go to it someday.
We're talking about big events. That's gotten to be pretty big here within the last few years. I actually really enjoyed. It was my first year racing at Canandaigua this year, and I love that place. That race was really, really cool, and that family pumps a lot of money into that race.
Yeah, it's a cool event. Again, someday I'll get there. Unfortunately, I have announcing duties, kind of streaming duties at Fonda Speedway that weekend, but would love to get up there and check that out because heard a lot of good things about it. I've talked to Justin a lot about it, and again, sounds like a great event. And again, a lot of cash, for a 100-lap race. So that's really cool. And I know a guy we'll have on here in a little bit, Matt Williamson, loves that race too. So I'm sure we could throw that way out there. Rich Murtaugh chiming in. When are we going south? Yeah, I'm ready to go south because the weather stinks. We kind of opened with that the snow and all that. It has not been fun here in central New York the last day or so, 2 days. It's okay. It's part of, if you live here, you know what you're getting. So, I know, but everybody got pounded. I don't think it was just us. Talking to my buddy Neil today in Jersey, they got about 15 inches of snow down there. So they also got some pretty heavy snow in that point. Now, a couple questions here coming in on Mike Mahaney. Now, Mike Mahaney could go back-to-back track. That's definitely possible. I don't see Mike's very, very good at Albany Saratoga, very consistent. But one of the things you got to remember, Albany Saratoga is tough to win a championship there. Their handicapping is very, very challenging. You start deep in your heat race and you start deep in the feature once the points start to get tallied out. So, we talked last week a lot about handicapping, and that place they handicap, and it is tough. You get a couple of wins, you're not going to start near the front anytime soon. So, but if anybody can do it consistency wise, I think Mike would be a good bet. Let's make sure I'm not missing anything else here in our questions. Again, we'll have some more news and notes and kind of stuff we want to get to. We see Volusia, the late models this past weekend was good. Yeah, look, Tim McCready getting a win is always good. I think everybody in the Northeast has a number one. The Northeast is Tim McCready's number one fan. Matt, you can probably attest to that too. Everybody cheers for T-Mac because you like the modified guy that goes national and wins races and gets it done.
Yeah, I heard Mike Rigsby say at one point, the world is better when Tim McCready's winning. So I think everybody in the Northeast can attest to that, and we definitely like watching them win. And Volusia was a really, really good or produced some really good racing all weekend. So, yeah, it was cool to see him get a win on Saturday.
Yeah, in typical T-Mac fashion, found that bottom, able to roll the bottom and just kind of like, you guys want to go up there, throw dirty sliders at each other, try to take each other out. There was some intense battles in there with Bobby Pierce and O'Neill. It was, I think intense is probably not even a strong enough word to describe what those guys were doing.
Yeah, no kidding. The gloves, it seems like the gloves were off. There was something in the air on Saturday down there in Florida because they had some stuff going on in the heat races, guys getting DQ'd, and then there were sliders getting thrown all night in the feature. That was pretty wild.
Yeah, so that was pretty intense, pretty good here. And I hope we see that continue for when the modifieds get there. I had a chat with someone else. I give, you got to kind of take your hat off to I'm not wearing a hat, but I should, to the track crew down there, all the work they got to do. There is a lot of racing at Volusia in the next month. mean, you got the, you kick off here with the Sunshine Nationals for the World of Outlaw Late Model Series. Then you have ASCS kind of rolling in there, USCS. You got 360 sprint car racing rolling in. Then you bring in the UMP Modifieds and the World of Outlaw sprint cars. And then from there, you get a day. I think there's 1 day off or 3 days off total in this whole stretch for these guys, because then you roll right into the super late models for the first couple of nights with the UMP Modifieds. Then the big blocks get there. So there is a lot of racing at Volusia, and that track crew, if they can keep this up, I think it'll be pretty awesome for when the big blocks do get there finally here in a few weeks.
Yeah, I think I don't know about you, but I had a little bit of like a nostalgic feel going on, like 2017, 2018 Volusia feelers when I saw that surface on Thursday with them guys racing. Just same kind of racing, same look to the track and everything. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, I believe they put new clay down. I think that was mentioned that they put some clay down, and it definitely is really, really good clay. And they did a really, really nice job with putting it down. I mean, it didn't look too bad. I mean, a couple of little ripples, but I think Volusia always has a couple little ripples, but nothing you can complain about. I mean, it was decent racing all weekend.
Yeah, they did a really good job with prepping that track.
Yeah. Eric and Larry Fink prepping Volusia. Thanks, Timmy. That would be why it's so good. We know them. Those guys are the guys that handle the surface here for us up here at Brewerton and Fulton Speedways. Crap. Waiting on Matt Williamson to get in. I'm waiting on him. We got a lot of technology going on here, so it takes Matt. He's got to call in and then put a pin code in, etc. I'll double check the pin code for him here as we keep on rolling. 6852. Let me check. Yeah, I gave him the right pin code. Let's see if he can figure it out. We're going to have him on to talk all things there. Now here's another nickname, Matt the Killer Cat.
You started this whole nickname thing, and it's just the wave keeps getting bigger and bigger every week.
Oh, I love it. I love the fans. Thanks for the comments. I mean, it's fantastic here, and all you want is just call me Fast Matt, please. Just call me Fast Matt.
Nah, it's all good. You guys call me whatever you want.
Hey, if you're winning races, it don't matter, right? It doesn't matter. You'll take.
I may or may not respond to certain ones, but you call me whatever you want.
Minivan Matt's still George's favorite. All right, so we have Matt Williamson. Let's go right to him. Let's get him in here and bring him on in. Well, Matty, you figured out the technology. I'm impressed.
Barely. I barely figured it out.
You probably had the pin and the chat or the show ID backwards. That's what I'm going with.
I did. Well, when I called the number originally, it said I was calling Los Angeles. I figured you guys were not in Los Angeles, so whatever you got going on there, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, we got Eric, our producer, in the background. I don't know what's going on either. He handles it, so I'm not going to just bust your chops about it.
That's okay. I can take it.
Yeah. Well, look, Matt Smith's here with us. Obviously, we've been busting on him about nicknames. So before we even get into anything serious, so we have a couple of nicknames for Matty. It's Fast Matt right now, but do you think we should go with maybe Minivan Matt because he's about to have a kid, and he had to get the minivan and all of that. He'll say he didn't, but whatever. We're gonna still assume he did. Then we have his girlfriend Alicia loves cats, so he's got 4 cats running around the house right now. So we call them the Cat Man. I mean, we have the Batman and then the Cat Man.
I can't win with these guys.
Or we go with Cat Matt, or Scott Underwood just commented Matt the Killer Cat. All right. I mean, so which one of those would you think should stick here for 2026?
I'm going to plead the 5th because I got to race against him. If I say something stupid, he's probably drive into the
I think you're good. I got a lot of work to do to catch up to you, so you do whatever you want.
I do like the minivan, Matt. That is quite unique.
So while we're joking around a little bit, I think the first question, I know Matt wanted to talk about. Matt, talk about the question you had for him. We were doing pre-show prep here.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, when you were preparing to have I think you have a daughter, right? You got a daughter.
Yep.
Yeah.
8 months, almost 8 months now. Yeah.
Nice. So, at the track, when you brought her there, was it what you expected? What kind of change was that for you? And, what's that like?
It wasn't too difficult, or different, I should say. My wife really took like the reins, you know what I mean? So that was good because obviously, like when we go to the racetrack, it's a little different than like the average person. You know, you got to focus on racing and everything else, and getting crew guys in the pits, and you know, all the stuff that comes along with it. So my wife took care of Brenna when she was there, and the first time we really brought her on a trip was Summerfest, and we had the RV there. So that worked out great, and it was a lot of fun. It's cool seeing them grow up and get emotion and everything. I'm excited for you. It's a cool thing, and you got a lot to look forward to. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. It seems like we got some pretty good women in our life, so I think it's going to be quite the similar scene for me as it was for you.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
All right, now that we got the family talk out of the way, now we can talk racing. So, Maddie,
family, get that right out of the way.
Yeah, we get that question out of the way. So, Maddie, first thing we want to talk about, you know, we've been talking a lot about the DTD TV showdown in the Sunshine State. Let's talk a little bit about how this thing came about, you know, and I can blame you for what we're about to do here in about a week and a half.
That's okay, as long as you blame me when you're depositing all your checks after the week.
You better hope there's a deposit, buddy.
just remember me in like 3 weeks. Just remember me when you're going to the bank after you deposit all this money. So,
if we do well, you'll get the handshake in the pit area, like a good old fashioned sponsor, right? Just cash in the palm.
If it goes good, do I have to pay for pit passes for next year?
Well, we'll see. Maybe just a handshake in the palm. We don't know. We don't know yet. We'll let you know. Or just come to the Oyster Pub on the Sunday of the Daytona 500, and you'll get taken care of.
I think I'm actually going home this year on that Sunday. I think that's what we talked about earlier.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
You never know down there. So
there's the change with the kid right there. Money Matt is going.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Well, depending on the weather, right? Like the weather right now doesn't make you want to rush home. So, but yeah, it is certainly changing when you do have, you know, a daughter at home to go home to, and you know, you don't want to spend too much time on the road. But we had made these decisions on coming home that Sunday before her and Natalie decided they were going to come down for a couple of days down there. So you never know what'll happen. But yeah, the whole idea of this, when we were at Eastern States there, I heard a rumor that you guys were going to put it on when Brett.
That was false. I'll just say that was a false rumor.
And I thought the rumor was a good idea. You know, if anybody has a platform to put it on and the means to do it, it would be you guys. And it's hard to not do it this year because the way that the late model schedule and the sprint car schedule worked out, like it's really the only thing going on that week. So I'm excited about it. Alltech's obviously a wicked racetrack. So yeah, when I talked to you about it, you kind of looked at me like I was crazy, and I just kept pushing and mentioned it to George, and then you guys started talking for real, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe it might happen. And of course, I wanted you to do it with Brett's rules because we got that sweet 430, and you kind of pushed me away with that. But it was so good because when we get back from Florida, I'm moving a week later, and now I don't have to worry about washing race cars afterwards.
So that's good. So, you know, talk about Alltech. You know, Steve Ovens asked, a question about the technical change. Obviously, the deck lids are going to be a little bit different height than we've run in the past. You know, Dirt Car came out with that rule just for Florida to see what it does. We obviously adopted that rule to kind of follow along with what Dirt Car's doing. What are your thoughts on lowering that deck height and the changes that it could bring not only to Alltech but to Volusia?
Yeah, I like it. You know, I was one of the first ones at the meeting, the Platinum meeting that Dirt Car does, to mention that they should be doing something about it. I think we had the Platinum meeting. It was at Weed Sport on a Sunday, and we had just raced Canada Edward the night before. And, some stuff had happened on the front straightaway, and you couldn't really see it coming through like as it was happening. And I just mentioned in the meeting, like, you know, everybody always complains these cars are too hooked up. You know, they're too into the racetrack. The racing's not that great. And, you know, I was complaining as a driver that I couldn't see the car in front of me when it, you know, when things were going down and cars were wrecking. So I mentioned about lowering the deck height and actually policing it, like do like the late models do and do a droop test, if a car goes out and gets wrecked and, the quarter panels are all tore off and the deck's up in the air, but without any wrecks and stuff, it would be easy to police. And, us as drivers and team members and car owners, we have to, be weary that they are going to check it and, obviously pay attention to it from now on. But, I think it's a good idea. Hopefully it'll produce good racing. I do like the way that they wrote the rules. I think that, we can still play around a little bit and, maybe going forward, we might need to change wing lines or do something to create downforce. But, it's cool that they kind of left it open where you could still, work hard and try and come up with something cool.
What do you think the impact of Hoosiers is going to be here on Alltech? You guys have all run American racers there in the past. What do you think the impact being not only Hoosiers, but also all big blocks?
Yeah, I'm not too sure how it's going to be, really. I don't have a ton of experience on American racers there. I think I've been there twice. Once with Jeff's car and once with my own. And the time we went with my own, I brought a spec small block down thinking that was the right thing to do, and obviously it wasn't. So, it's going to be interesting. I like the big block side because you're going down there with the same motor as everybody else. You're not going to the racetrack and hoping you brought the right gun to the gunfight. So that is the nice thing about big block racing. Obviously, big block racing is a little bit dated. The parts are expensive and everything's getting harder to find, but it is nice not going to a racetrack and getting outsmarted in the shop before you get there.
Yeah, looking at the all-time wins list, Matt, I noticed somebody's name's missing. And should I, just saying, what's it going to take for you to finally kind of break into that? Obviously, Stewie is the all-time winner at Alltech with 7. Then you have Matt. Then you got a handful of guys with 1. What makes Alltech so tough, or is it just lack of experience for you there?
Lack of races, I would say. I think that, the Saturday we raced with my stuff, we were pretty good. And I remember we were leading the race with Jeff's car and ended up getting a flat tire late in the race. I think it was the year that it latched rubber pretty early. I'm not sure that Wendell knew really what he was doing with a modified kind of racetrack at that time. It was probably the first year that Brett brought the series there. So
okay.
Obviously he's done such a nice job now making sure that it doesn't latch rubber and the racetrack's it's exciting to go to now. But I don't know. I've been good there. Just obviously haven't been good enough to win. So hopefully that changes and maybe we can get 1 or 2 or if we're lucky enough, maybe 3 down there this week and get ourselves on that list.
Getting awful greedy there, trying to get 3. Just saying.
hey, I got a lot of guys investing a lot of time and working really hard to go down there. So if I tell them that we're going down there not to win every race, they're probably going to be pissed at me. So
yeah, fair enough.
Kind of the goal. Yeah, that's the goal going down is to try and win all 3. And it was the same in Charlotte and the same when we go to Volusia. You try and go there and win every race, and if you're going there to run 8th, your guys aren't going to show up. So
right.
It's always a goal to try and win as many as you can.
Discuss taking Buzz Chu there. That's your big block team. A lot of success there this season. Super Dirt Car Series championship, winning at Oswego. Talk about that. Talk about taking the 88, and that will be a different experience. But much like normal, you're going to have plenty of help, plenty of guys there from all the teams, etc.
Yeah. Buzz's wife's doing better now, so I'm hoping that he can come up and catch a couple races, maybe even just a Friday and Saturday. I talked to him a week or so ago, and he was kind of up in the air on whether he can make it or not. But I do appreciate him, obviously, letting us go there and racing a few more times throughout the speed weeks. The investment for him, obviously, it's more money, more tires, more fuel. But I hope as a driver that I can give him a return on it and, give him maybe some more money to pay for the fuel down there and all the rooms and everything, because going to Volusia is tough. It's good if you go down there and win a couple races, but if you don't win a couple races, and really there's only 4 chances, it's hard to get your money back. So hopefully with going to All Tech, obviously you guys are, paying $5,000 each night. Hopefully we can, like I said, win maybe one or two, and give him a reason to want to go back next year. That's Buzz really never gives me a hard time when I want to go racing. We used to bring his stuff to Fulton 200. We've done some other races that weren't series races over the time, and it's hard to get them to not do series races. But Spot and Ernie and all them guys, they give us such a good car that anytime we go to any of these races, we're always fighting for wins. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully I can give them a reason to want to do it again the next year.
Yeah, Buzz is a great guy. Always enjoy catching up with him or chatting with him whenever I see him. Always ready to share a story or a thought. So I appreciate Buzz, and all your guys. Your guys are great. You got a lot. You get to know a lot of guys in the pits, and your guys are some of the nicest guys. Always willing to chat. And I think I've only made Spot mad one time, but we're not going to talk about that. Actually, maybe twice, but we're not going to talk about either of those.
This might be 3, because with the amount of sales they're getting right now, the fact that you're promoting this race that he has to be ready for in a week, he might be mad at you again.
Oh man,
I'm sure he'll forgive you by the time.
Yeah, that's one list I don't want to be on, that crap list.
No, I talked to him for a bit today, and he's working really hard. I mean, he brings, a lot of effort to go to these races. And I try to talk to him and calm him down a little bit. I'm like, listen, we got a lot of time in between Volusia and All Tech, and we got a lot of time when we're down there on Wednesday. We can organize everything. We can do tires. We can organize shocks. We can write notes. We can do whatever we need to do on the truck and trailer when we get down there. But he's so OCD and like very good at going to the racetrack as 100% that I think it's killing him that he's not ready ahead of time. And they had to send the trailer down to South Carolina or Georgia, somewhere down there this winter, and get some work done to it, so that he missed a week doing that. And but yeah, I'm sure he's going to have everything 100% by the time we get down there. And like I said, we got a lot of time to work on the Volusia car in between All Tech and Volusia, and we'll get it right. We'll get it right and ready and have everything cleaned up when we get down there.
Very good. What do you got going on in 2026? Same old? We got any exciting news or anything good going on this year?
Yeah, pretty much the same. As far as I know, we're going to go to Florida now. In a week anyways. And when we get back from that, our first race after that will be Port Royal with Jeff. And then late March, we'll be going to Georgetown again with the 88. And then I might bring my 430 to Outlaw at the beginning of the year for the early April races. That would be a little bit of a change from what I would normally do, but I just want to get some laps on that 430 we got, and maybe do them early April races with that, and then kick right off for Canandaigua and Ransomville. So pretty excited about it. We got a new CC motor from Will Thomas going in right now. I was working on that all day today. Putting that together, getting the big block car put together, and my small block car, I think tomorrow I'm going to work on getting the brakes changed over, because the first race for that's going to be Lebanon Valley for the 358 series race. So yep, going to switch over some brakes on that thing, and we're just getting everything buttoned up, and we're in pretty good shape. I got to move houses a week after we get back from Florida, so that'll be a stressful week or 2 or 3, and I'm trying to get as much stuff done before I get into that as possible.
Matt, what's your opinion on the open small blocks? You look at the late models, they pretty much run all over the country with relatively similar engine packages. And up here in the Northeast, we've got quite the variety. So, what's your thoughts on all the engine combinations we run and where you think it might need to be?
Yeah, I like the way that the late models can race all over the country, like you said. I think that's like a pretty big benefit, and obviously it'll grow the division if modifieds could ever get to that point. But
I agree.
In the same sentence, it's tough because like Dirt Car, I think, uses the big block name as an advertising tool. Like they can't really advertise the series as the big open small blocks, even though an open small block would make the same horsepower and probably be faster at some of these racetracks. So that's the tough part. Like, I think that it's almost a dying breed, and we're almost beating a dead horse on these big blocks at that point, but I don't know what it's going to take to merge everything together and keep people happy that have so much money invested in all these different motors, right? Like, there's probably some people out there that have, 3 or 4 big blocks and no open small blocks. And then there's some people that have 3 or 4 open small blocks and don't have any big blocks. And whether you make a decision one way or another, I think that there's going to be probably 50-50 split on who's happy and who's not. But
For sure.
it is unique on the other hand, like having Brett Deo have his series with open motors and Dirt Car have their series with just strictly big blocks. And they both kind of live and die by it. Like, if you talk to Dean, he's so invested into the big block stuff, and you talk to Deo and he's so invested into this open motor kind of deal, that, like, I don't think either one of them is going to be willing to kind of change for the other. But I do think that a lot of these racetracks, like, are hurting for car count, and part of the reason we're hurting for car count is because the motors are so damn expensive, and cars are so damn expensive, and tires are expensive, and fuel is expensive. So every time I think that the division's not going in a good direction, and we're hurting for car count, we're hurting for fans, and it's not going to be around very often. We go to these racetracks and there's 50 cars in the pit area and the grandstands are full. So I think that a lot of the time, like, promoters, will say the sport's in tough shape, and the grandstands at that racetrack per se are a quarter full, and there's 15 cars in the pit area. But then you get a different promoter in there, and they bring some new ideas and some new blood to the racetrack, and all of a sudden there's 20 cars and the grandstands are 3/4 full instead of being empty like they used to be. So I think that, like, the more and more we complain about this sport and the shape that it's in, and then you go to, like, Quebec for the Super Dirt Series races and see how good it can be. I think it just needs work. It just needs hard work and needs some new ideas, and it's not in that bad of a shape.
I agree.
Yeah, no, like that. That interesting comments. One of the questions that came up earlier in the before you got here with us. You look at the dirt car rules for the Super Dirt Car Series, and it says a maximum displacement of 480 cubic inches. Most of you guys run 467. Is there a reason for that, or is that just what's the purpose or the reasoning behind that? Or again, this was a fan question. I know nothing about the technical side, so this is why we wanted to wait and kind of hatch this with you.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not super smart with motors. I could change rocker arms or push rods and adjust the valves and diagnose as much as I can, but I'm not super smart with motors. But my thought would be that it allows room for rebuilds. Blocks are hard to find, and if you get a block and it's 464 and you go 10 over, what would it be, right? So that would be my original thought on that. But like I said, I'm not very smart with motors, so I really don't know if there's like a Delaware style big block that's a little bit bigger than a 464, maybe like a 470. That would be what it would be for. But
okay,
like I said, I'm not very smart with motors, so I'm not really the one to ask on that.
Well, welcome to the party. Yeah. I'm not a motor guy. That again, my technical skills end at putting the tire on and the lug nuts. So one other question for you, from a fan here asking, would you like to race weekly at Albany and Saratoga? Now, I know you live in way out in Neverland, way out in St. Catharines, Ontario. For those that don't know, that's west of Buffalo. Obviously, Albany Saratoga would be quite the hike for you.
Yeah, it would. There was a time during COVID that we were going there like 3 or 4 times a summer, maybe even more. So I love the place. Lyle did such a great job. We're going to miss him, man. He did such a great job on that facility and making events big and special. It was a place that the Super Dirt Series got to go to twice a year, and we never got bored of going. So I do like Albany. If it was about 3 hours, we'll actually think about making it my home. But no, in saying that, I don't want anything bad to come from Ransomville. So I love going to Ransomville on Friday nights. I think it produces great racing as well. And towards the end of the year, when they got rid of the old track guy that kind of got stuck in his ways and didn't really know what he was doing, they got it figured out and did a really good job producing some racing. And you could pass and come from the back, and they added handicapping, so that was good too. So I like Ranceville on Friday nights. If Albany was a little closer, maybe on Saturday nights, it would be something I would think about. But I like my 2 home tracks around here, though. That's for sure. Land of Legends and Ranceville.
All right. Question here from Nick Wary. A couple more and we'll let you go, man. We appreciate your time.
No worries at all.
Do you think there are too many big races? Do you think it hurts weekly racing? And why does a race fan attend a weekly race when they can hit a big show every other week? You can kind of throw your thoughts at that, and we can kind of go from there too.
Yeah, I don't think that there's too many big races. I think that there's too many big races at the same racetracks. We raced at Weedsport 3 or 4 times on the series. We raced at Canandaigua 2 or 3 times on the series. Back in the day, we would do Lebanon Valley twice a year, Albany twice a year. I'm excited this year that we're going out to Sharon and Mansfield. I think that they could make it even better and add Lernerville into that mix. But I think that the Super Dirt Series needs to race as many times as they do. I just wish that they would diversify the racetracks that they go to. I think that's the easiest way to put it. I actually don't think that I don't have the screen in front of me. I'm just talking on my phone, so I don't know what Nick asked. But I think that it might be mixed up. I think that the weekly racing almost hurts the big races, because why would somebody pay $30 to get into Land of Legends on a Tuesday night to watch a Super Dirt Series when they can watch 75% of the race car drivers from the Super Dirt Series race on Saturday night for $20? That's kind of my opinion on that. But yeah, I do think that we have too many races at the same racetracks. I wish that we would go further west. I don't think we need to go further east because we hit Georgetown twice a year now. But there's probably some races between Weedsport and Georgetown that we could hit up too. Port Royal's a beautiful racetrack out that way. Selinsgrove was fun. I'm glad we got to go there. Obviously, we almost hurt some people, so that probably played a factor in not going back. But there's some good racetracks in the country that we don't get to go to, and I wish that we'd diversify it a little bit.
Yeah. I get you on that, and I think you kind of answered the question there. It's obviously tough. I think one of the things we found ourselves in is there is a lot of racing. To me, there is a lot of racing, and I don't want to say there's too much, but I mean, you can go almost every day just in within like a 3 to 4 hour radius here in Central New York. And that I don't remember ever being like that in the late 90s, but maybe it was. I don't know. But it just seems like as we've gotten further along, there's more and more big races during the week. And I think it does pull away a little bit from the weekly racing, because fans only have money to go to one. Usually they're going to hit up that race on the Tuesday, Wednesday for the special show, and kind of maybe skip that weekend racing. But Mike Fowler asked the question for you, Matty. Do you think the series schedule needs fear the beard, buddy? Fear the beard. Do you think the series schedule needs to only hit one track a year to spread that racing around? Like go to the track one time a year?
I think I'm trying to remember what the series schedule looks like this year and where we go to 3 or 4 times. I think that Dean's actually done a better job. Like maybe we only hit Weedsport twice with the series, and maybe only twice at Canandaigua. But yeah, I don't know. I think that it would obviously make the race that you do have at that racetrack more special. We go to Ransomville once a year for the series, and it's a special event when we go there. We're not in the area often, so that also might play a little bit of a factor to it. We go to Quebec once a year, and it's unbelievable what the fans do when we go there. So we do 2 racetracks at Drummond, or 2 races at Drummond, I should say. But I think that's kind of almost better because you're traveling so far to get there that it would be kind of a pain in the butt to do one race. Like I didn't really agree with going to Georgetown in March and doing one race in March when it's 8 hours from my house. But there's also some guys that it's closer to, and when they got to come to Ranceville, that's far too. So I don't know. It's certainly, you're not wrong when you say there's a lot of racing. There is a ton of racing. Even the 358 series, it's a lot more this year than it was last year. We do a lot more races. I think I added up the hours to travel to all of the 358 series races, and this is just for the 358 series races. It was like 114 hours of driving to go to these races and it's like 14 races. So, yeah, there's a lot of racing. Obviously, guys like Matt and myself and Stu and, Mike Mahaney, we're going to try and hit up as many series as possible and as many of these big races. Like, it's not like you have, a different crop of drivers that are on the short track super series and a totally opposite group of drivers that are on the super dirt series. It's kind of the same guys that are racing at all these races, which kind of makes it saturated too. Like, you're not watching the Lucas guys versus the World Outlaw guys. You're kind of watching the same guys at both these series. So it kind of makes it like there's, 40 series races a year as opposed to only the 26 that are on the Super Dirt Series calendar. So certainly an interesting point, but I don't want to see any races go away because I race for a living and I need to make it possible. So, gonna eliminate any races. I would suggest Georgetown in March would be nice, and maybe Georgetown before Charlotte. But and that's not to knock Georgetown. I actually like racing at the place. It's just so damn far from my house. I think it took me 10 hours to get there last year, so that kind of sucks.
Come on, why don't you Superman it? Like, hey, just show up with the helmet and the fire suit and get off the plane and in Dover and call it a day, right? Fly from Niagara Falls, fly down, you'll be fine. Just tell Spot you'll meet him there.
I actually flew. I got a funny story. I flew when I was racing Jeff Barrett's car at Georgetown, not this past year, but the year before. I flew home from Georgetown. So my parents were going down there. They were staying a couple of days. So I just rode down with them. And then I got them to drop me off in the Philly airport after the races in Georgetown. So they dropped me off and I'm like, oh, it's Philly. It's a nice airport. I'll just stay in the airport until my 6 a.m. flight. And it was like the sketchiest night I've ever had in my whole entire life. Sleeping on a bench in Philadelphia was not the brightest decision I've ever had. So, I'll stick to driving home from these races.
Okay, all right, Maddie. Anything else here? Let's see. Thoughts on midweek shows versus only series racing on the weekends. Well, we'll wrap it with this. Mike Fowler had one more question for you. Your thoughts? Would you rather see series racing on the weekends rather than midweek shows?
Yes and no. My no answer is because if you take away the Matt Shepherds, the Matt Williamsons, the Stu Friesens, the Mike Mahaneys, like the people that go. I know Mike's probably a bad example to use at Albany because they have such a good car count, but like I know Utica was down to a dozen cars towards the end of the year. As good as Matt is there, maybe if you took him away, it might gain car count.
Right.
But like myself at Ranceville, I know Ranceville's hurting for car count, and there's not a ton of guys lined up to go back racing. So I think that like we need as many people as possible to be at these racetracks. But I don't disagree if they're gonna make it so that it's on off nights for like weekly racetracks. Like I know that they used to do the races. They still do. I think the races in April before the weekly races start up. And obviously, like the Super Dirt Car Series, that's dirt car, right? They need to keep the weekly racetracks happy. So if you told them, hey, we're going to go up against your opener, or we're going to go up against your middle of August show that you're trying to rely on to make money, I don't think that would go over very well. But then again, like you look at the late models, they tour around the country, race on Fridays and Saturday nights in the summer, and there's enough of them to go around that they don't need to have local racing on a Friday and Saturday night. So I think there's a lot of ways you can answer that question, but that's the best I could do, I guess.
All right. Well, buddy, we appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for spending a half hour with us here. Enjoy the snow. I don't know if you got as much snow as we did, but enjoy it out there. Get some snowmobiling in here. You only got a couple weeks before we head to Florida, so.
I got one trip planned for March 20th area. I'm going to Mount Valin for that weekend and or week, I should say. And other than that, there hasn't been much snowmobiling. I gotta spend as much time with Brenna as I can. Matt will see here pretty soon. All the fun toys and all the fun weekends kind of go away, and it's just better spending time at home.
Yep, in the near future.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks, Maddie. We appreciate your brother, and see you down at the All Tech Raceway here in a little bit.
All right, we'll see you in a few weeks, guys. Thank you.
All right, so there he is, Matt Williamson, again, defending Super Dirt Car Series champion. Thank him for tuning in, joining us, and obviously now we can open the phone lines here if anybody'd like to give us a call and chat. We got some great questions there from some race fans there. I missed the one there. Damon, I see you asked about the Connor Sellers race. I believe that's on a Saturday night at Thunder Mountain. I'm not positive. But unfortunately, Matty competes weekly at Land of Legends. So the Saturday night stuff for Matty's kind of out of the question. Matt brought up a good point and something I want to kind of roll into here. I was scrolling through Facebook, looking for ideas, kind of stuff for us to talk about here tonight. And I saw some video of Bowman Gray. Now, I know this is asphalt and it's not traditionally what we do, but you see Bowman Gray, they literally plowed the pit area out and they had snow on the track and they were getting ready to plow the snow off the track. They're racing there next week with the Clash. So January 31st, February 1st, the Clash for NASCAR is at Bowman Gray. Now, I'm not knocking the event, love the event, but let's kind of roll this into modified racing. The Supercar Series kicks off. Matt Williamson just talked about it on March 28th at Georgetown. You got the Short Track Super Series starting the season March 13th, 14th at Point Royal. Then they're at the 22nd at Bridgeport. How early is too early? Do you think we're a little early on our schedules, or are you good? I mean, you're a weekly racer. Brewerton really doesn't open until early May. I know Thunder kind of opened sometime in April, early May. What are your thoughts on all this racing that's going on so early in the year? We go to Florida. Florida's kind of tradition, but I feel like we've bumped up those dates earlier and earlier to get these shows in, so you can have all the big guys at them before the weekly tracks open.
Yeah, I'm not against it by any means. I mean, I'd love to do racing if I'm free and we're able to do it as a team. But if you look at the numbers, you see if the weather's good and there's a good opening for good weather in that early month of March, April, there's typically a lot of cars that go to those. So, between the early season racing and your end of the season racing that people really want to go to, I think people are itching to go. If you get a good weekend, you're probably going to have a lot of fans and a lot of racers go to whatever race it is.
Yeah, I've worked at some racetracks, and we always had chats about early season racing. And one of the things we had always said is if you get, you kind of mentioned, if you get a really nice weather day, you could have you will have a fantastic crowd. Fantastic. It'll be packed. I know like Can-Am is scheduled to open on Saturday, April 11th up in Watertown. Obviously, that's north of me. They've been getting a ton of snow as well up there. But if they get that in, if they get a couple of 3, 5, 70-degree days rolling into that race, that place is going to be mobbed. You can make your season on having one of these big season events early in the year where you do hit the home run and get some nice weather.
Yeah, the Can-Ams, the 2-day show, or is it a 2-day or a 1-day show at Albany? Port Royal, when that was going on, those are typically home runs with fan count and car count as long as the weather was good and guys had their stuff ready. So I'm not against the early season stuff by any means.
I know fans like it. I mean, I like going to traveling to some of these racetracks early in the year. It's fun for me because, again, I don't have as many commitments on my weekly racing that I have to deal with. So I like to get out to these early races. But I got to tell you, bundle up, though, for some of them. Bundle up, much like when we were shooting and it was 6 degrees and you crack a beverage and the thing's a slushy within 3 minutes. Saturday.
Yeah, 6 would have been a heat wave.
Yeah. So Kevin Root commented, no racing around May. Yeah, May's the kind of the traditional here in Central New York. Just with all the snow you get, it's so tough for racetracks to open early with just how much water and melt and runoff you get. Heath Waldron asked, do you think Utica Rome going 358 racing is going to hurt the car counts at Brewerton and Fulton? Now, obviously, Utica Rome is going to be on Friday nights, okay, and they're going to do specials once a month on Sundays for big blocks. But what's your thoughts? There are a handful of guys that do run 358s at Brewerton, and we've chatted about this a little bit.
I mean, you might get a couple cars from that neck of the woods, but I think they're kind of centrally located to pull it from the capital region just as much as you are from Brewerton. So I don't think it's going to really hurt Brewerton and Fulton that bad.
Okay. I kind of see it. There'll be probably a couple guys that decide and elect to go to Utica just because it's in their backyard. And again, being on dirt car rules is going to help them with the tires and all of that. So it'll make it easier for cars to cross over. And on the same side of that, you would hope that, hey, if Utica Rome has a night where maybe they're off or they rain out or whatever, you might see a handful of guys go try Brewerton or Fulton. So I think it kind of works both ways because now guys don't have to worry about changing cars, changing tires, changing this, changing that. So I think it could help everybody in the long term, like cars spreading around a little bit more. I have Jamie Weakneck. Obviously, the baby's not on his lap here. You know, come on, Mallett. You don't miss those February Sunday afternoon Hagerstown mod and late model shows. I'm not going to lie. I used to love going to Hagerstown on Sunday afternoon. Now, I didn't like the fact that I feel like Brett Hearn won every one of those races I was at. And Matt, I think you're probably too young to remember those shows. But back in the day, you could go to Lincoln or Williams Grove on Friday. You could hit Lincoln on Saturday. Then on Sunday, you would have Hagerstown would race big blocks and super late models. They'd start at like 1 o'clock, be done like 5 o'clock. You can hit the road and head home.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good time. Like I was saying, I think we talked last week or maybe the first week about the late models and the mod stuff down there. It seemed like it was always pretty cool.
Yeah, just the weather was hit or miss for those. Now, I will say the greatest show I ever pulled off. Have you ever raced two tracks on the same day? Have you ever done that or no?
Nope, not me.
I got to do. Now, back in the day, you could do Weedsport, or you would start at Rolling Wheels in the afternoon. They'd run a series race. Then we'd leave there and we'd go to Sunday night racing at Weedsport. And you'd just watch the train of cars going between the two places. My all-time best was 3 events in one day. As a fan, well, as a writer, whatever. Went to Trailway Speedway, which was just outside Hanover, Pennsylvania. Then I made it over to Lincoln. Lincoln would run a 410 only show starting at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Trailway would start at noon. Then as soon as the 410 feature was done, we would hump it from there down to Hagerstown, and you could make it in time for the start of the super late model heat. So you could get 3 shows in one day if you planned everything right. But it's, like Trailway to Lincoln was only like 15, 20 minutes, but then Lincoln over to Hagerstown was like an hour and 10 minutes, but you could get 3 shows in a day. I would love to see somebody, racetracks around here try that. I think that would be the coolest thing ever. I know I had made the joke with Carl and Sarah when they were running at Thunder Mountain, when they were running Afton on Friday nights. I'm like, what we need to do is we need to run an afternoon show at Afton, start at noon, and then we'll come to Thunder and run a 6 o'clock show. And they both looked at me like I was nuts.
If you had an incentive for fans to do that as much as the racers, I mean, it would be like a mad dash to go from one to the other. I mean, you look at, I know it's not logistically the same thing, but like the Saturday at of the 358 race at Oswego, and Deo had the race that was back to back. I mean, that was a mad rush to get from Oswego to Afton, I think it was, for those few couple of years. Yeah, that was kind of neat.
Yeah, I've done some cool doubles. Some people, Matt Stephanie, I did Wyoming County and Weedsport double. That's cool. That's a good one. Kim Updike commented on our Brewerton with the small block idea. Would Can-Am take the Friday night hit more so than Brewerton? I'm not sure. The guys that run Can-Am are typically in that area, like the Tim Fullers and the Lance Willickses and them. They kind of are all kind of congregated right around there. I don't think there's a ton of Central New York cars that go north, but maybe a couple. I think the one thing that got Can-Am a little bit with cars was, we have Mohawk now running on Fridays with small blocks as well. I think that was more of a hit than say Brewerton, or having Brewerton or Utica run the small box. Thanks for the question, Kimmy. 4th of July, Syracuse, then straight to Rolling Wheels. That was fun. Yeah, I remember doing those too. Double dividend. We would go to during Super Dirt Week. You would go to Syracuse during the day. Then they always had a sprint car show or a modified show or something like that at night at Rolling Wheels, or even at Brewerton. We would hit those up with the old Hurricane 100 back in the day. So those were always fun. All right, so we have our friend Damon on the line. So Damon, we'll put him in here. We'll bring him in. He's got a question for you, Matty.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, bud.
So go ahead, Damon. How are you tonight, bud? And go ahead. You're on with Mike and Matt.
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Hi, Matt. So I got 2 questions.
Go ahead.
Can you go to the 358 mod Connor Sellers Memorial?
I don't see why not. We'll just have to see logistically what works with me and my brother getting cars to the track. That was kind of the deal last year, and I think actually at the time I didn't have a 358 put together.
Okay. And then my last question is, what do you think about the American Racer and Hoosier deal with, like, Afton, all these tracks with American Racer and not Hoosier?
I think it's it's kind of a tough question to answer because it's almost like what was there or what's there when you get there. And it seems like it's not really a big deal until someone wants to change it, whether people want to stay there or if they want to follow something different. So I personally don't have a preference. I run Hoosiers Friday at Brewerton and Saturday at Thunder. But like I said, I don't really have a preference. I just think it's more along the lines of what's where you're racing. You're going to obviously have to use the tire that track is sanctioned by.
Okay. You run American Racer at Brewerton?
No, we run Hoosiers up there.
Yeah, traditionally, basically everything north of, let's say, Thunder Mountain North is basically you're going to run Hoosiers. Tracks kind of south of there, Outlaw, Afton, Pencan. Then you get down into Pennsylvania. Most of those tracks, predominantly, I think all of them run American Racer. So it's just kind of a regional thing. What region you kind of wear, and are they sanctioned by Dirt Car or are they not? If they are sanctioned by Dirt Car, they're going to be Hoosier tires.
Mm-hmm.
That answer that question for you, bud?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in, Damon. We appreciate it, buddy. We hope you have a great night.
Yeah, nice talking to you, bud.
All right. So there's Damon. Again, you can give us a call, 315-878-7766. We just had a great long chat there with Matt Williamson. Matt got his baby questions out of the way. I'm surprised he didn't ask him about how many diapers a day does he change, because we had that conversation on the pre-show at Super Dirt Week, talking about which driver does the most for diaper changes.
Yeah, I'm sure. Eric says so many diapers. No, I'm sure it's different for everybody, but like he said, his responsibilities at the races are the same. So I'm sure his diaper number is pretty minimal at the races.
All right. So a couple of things, I was reading through Ken Bruce's notebook from the Motorsports Expo down in near Philly this weekend. And he had a couple of interesting notes. The one that kind of sticks out to me is interesting. I remember, I don't know if we've hit on this yet, but Anthony Perego and the 4-star team getting a Troyer. That's an interesting change for me, but I think it's a good thing. I think we need a little diversity here.
Yeah, I don't. That was kind of I'm not going to say a shock, but not something that probably a lot of people expected. But if they want to go outside the realm of the Bicknells that they've been running, then all the power to them. Tim Sears has pretty good success with them at Brewerton. Brian Malcolm, he runs them at Thunder Mountain, and he goes pretty good there. So it's not like the cars aren't good. So we'll have to see how that works for him.
I think this is a good thing for Team Troyer overall. We see, you mentioned Tim Sears and how well he runs in them. I think this is a good thing to give them more cars to kind of draw ideas from, right? Like you need, you need that kind of R&D, if you will. Like Bicknell, there's a gazillion Bicknell cars out there. I know that's facetious and not true, but I mean, 95% of the field is going to be Bicknell cars. I think if you can get a few more guys to switch over in Troyer, they can learn some different things, different styles from some different guys. We may see a little bit more competition there between the Troyer and the Bicknell, kind of like the heyday, so to speak. Yeah,
having Tim and Anthony running those cars is probably good for them, but to their credit, I don't think it really matters what they're driving. Those are pretty good guys. It doesn't really matter, like I said, what cars they're in, probably.
Yeah, no, they're going to be fast. And, there may be a little bit of adjustment there, but again, good for Troyer. Matt Stabenhamer, looking forward to having the 4-star team running our cars. I'm booked and headed to Alltech. Oh, awesome. Can't wait to see it down there. Obviously the big weekend of racing coming up here. I can't believe we're only like a week and a half away from cars hitting the track down at Alltech Raceway. I know I still have to be somewhere this weekend. I have Atlantic City indoor racing, the Gamblers Classic. I'm looking forward to that. Again, that'll be live on DTD TV as well. I do love me some indoor racing. We've talked about that and chatted about that. Atlantic City is one of the best events. You're in a cool city. If you like to gamble, I'm not going to say I do, but I've been known to like a blackjack table a little bit once in a while. Occasionally, not every day. I'm not betting my life savings, but I do like to play some blackjack once in a while. But then, of course, Alltech gets rolling, gets things kicked off for our big block modified. So that should be fun. And again, Tim Farrell mentioned it. Don't let Matt fool you. The first thing he did was buy a motorhome to take Brenna to the track in. Yeah, he smartened up. He got a motorhome. He wasn't going there just having her in the toter or in the trailer. He got a motorhome for a home base.
Yeah, that might not have been a suggestion. That was probably a recommendation.
that'll make things obviously a little bit easier. So looking down through some other notes here that I came up with, one guy we've had kind of pop up that, and again, Ken Bruce, DirtTrackDigest.com wrote about this week. Jeff Strunk. You haven't heard a lot about Jeff Strunk this offseason. Winner of the Freedom 76. And it's the only guy I know that tends to win the Freedom of 76 and then ends up without a ride. Like but it is normally he does run the 357, which is Norm Hansel's cars. And they're not sure what they're doing. They still have equipment, but obviously Jeff is not with that team. But the news is that it seems like, Jeff Strunk's working on a deal. So that's good to see. I mean, Jeff Strunk has been a mainstay on the Penske circuit here the last few years, whether it was driving the Heinemann 126, the 357, a whole bunch. Butch Getz's car, I believe, back a few years ago. So he's definitely had some pretty good rides.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy you want to see in the Pennsylvania region stick around a little longer.
Yep. And the, not the veteran guys, I'll use the term veteran guys in Pennsylvania, they still seem to be able to win races. I mean, you bring up the likes of, Dwayne Howard, Craig Von Dorn, Jeff Strunk, another one of those, the big three Pennsylvania guys, if you want to say, those guys can still win and still win a lot of races any given season. And I think that's one thing that's cool about our sport. It's not just a young man's game in modified racing. I mean, there is a broad spectrum of guys and ages that can win races. Early in the show, we talked about Felix Waugh and him being kind of a young gun. We talked to Matty. He's mid-30s now. You talk, Matt Shepard, he's in his 40s now. And then you get the older guys. We've talked Tim Fuller, Tim, I hope Tim's not watching because I'll get a text about how he's not one of the old guys. But, guys like that still winning races. I think that's what's cool about modified racing.
Yeah, I mean, you get guys like Logan Watt that are 17 and guys like Tim Fuller that are 71. It's all pretty neat. I'm making fun of him a little bit.
Yeah, Tim Fuller. I love a good Tim Fuller conversation. Again, we've talked about it. It's so fun. Let's see a couple other things here in the notebook that I picked up. Again, I'm not going to give you all the news in the story. You got to head on over to Dirt Track Digest to check this out. We talked New Egypt last week. Kenny did talk to a guy that had, kind of looked into to possibly opening New Egypt, but the deal kind of didn't go through. Didn't go through. So right now there's no news. Still a lot of uncertainty there at New Egypt, and it's getting scary. We're getting a little later in the year. Late in the season to, for someone to find the money or or have the opportunity to get things rolling there. So hopefully, that comes around again. We hit on that last week, so I just want to bring that up again. That there's still some uncertainty there. We're not sure what's going on here. Let's see what else we got here. One more before we'll talk a little bit of Alltech again. Alex Payne, did you see this news that Alex Payne's going to drive for Butch Getz on select shows?
I do think I saw that. Yep.
Now I think that's interesting. That's a pretty cool opportunity for Alex. We've seen him win Super Dirt Car Series. I would say kind of a breakout season for Alex with the Super Dirt Car Series. Always strong at his weekly tracks, but definitely breakout year with the Super Dirt Car Series, winning some races. Now he's going to team up with Butch Getz, driver out of Pennsylvania, and he's going to run a handful of races down there in the spec small blocks. And I think that's pretty cool. I mean, I think that's a good thing, good thing for that area and a good thing for Alex Payne.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of talent in that neck of the woods, and I think getting him down there is going to produce some pretty good racing.
So we'll cross that off of my news against some select shows. I know I did chat with them briefly about that at the Eastern Motorsports Press Association convention a couple weeks ago. He was there, honored as our newcomer of the year award, or young gun, excuse me. So that was neat to chat with him about that. And again, it's cool. They were still kind of finalizing that schedule, still looking for anything else here. So Alltech Raceway here, we mentioned a little bit of Alltech. How excited are you just to see, we've been kind of stuck in the late model groove here, which it's okay. T-Mac won, everything's right in the world, but how excited do you see things get rolling here? A week and a half, we're going to get Alltech for 4 nights or 3 nights of racing, 1 night of practice. Then we're going to get some Super Dirt Car Series at Volusia. Yeah,
as we know, I'm not racing down there, but I've been studying some film, watching the last few years at Alltech, and definitely excited to see, the car counts coming in for you guys, and then, just to see what things are going to be like with the Hoosiers and the big blocks only there. I think across the board, it'll be some pretty good racing, and we'll be surprised how many people are watching, just being that there's a little bit of break in action with the sprint cars and late models. And yeah, I think it'll be a really, really good turnout for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, we've got the best of the best are coming. The big name guys, as Matt Williamson said, he's going to be there. Matt Shepard's coming. Stuart Friesen announced officially that he's going to be on his way to Alltech. And I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing Stu back in the car. And if you had told me back, in August after that crash there at Autodrome Drummond, that we would be seeing him back, for Alltech here, next week, and then run Volution back in the truck, I would have said no way. But I mean, what a testament to his regime and his workout program. I mean, he had some pretty serious injuries, but it is so awesome to see that he's going to come back.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty tough thing to do what he's doing, getting back in it as quick as he is. All the power to him, and I hope he's healthy. And people don't understand how hard that a lick like that is until you have bones broken and muscles torn and bruised, and you know what I mean. And when you're not using them because it's hurting real bad, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But definitely a cool deal to see him coming back. And like I said, hopefully he's healthy and good to go.
Yeah, again, we saw him taking some practice laps, so made it official. Must have felt good enough in the car when he made some laps down there in the Carolinas here a few weeks ago. So that is awesome to see. We mentioned, I know I saw Eric Rudolph mentioned that he's going to be making the trek down. Rudolph, a former winner at Alltech. So he's looking to make the trek there. So that's another Supercar Series regular kind of added to our list of who we can expect. Alex Payne's coming, Larry White's coming. I mean, it's going to be a who's who, and I think it's going to be a great 3 days. And again, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to how things are going to go. Just with the difference, big blocks only and the Hoosier tires. I think it's going to be exciting. And I think we're going to add, I think we see a new winner. That's what I think. I think we see a new winner. I mean, the winners at Alltech, Stuart Friesen has 7 all-time, as I mentioned with Maddie. Matt Shepard's got 5. David Schilling has 1. Eric Rudolph has 1. Larry White and Michael Maresca. So those are our modified winners in the past at Alltech, and I think we see a new winner. I'm going out on a limb, not really. I think somebody else gets it done.
Yeah, I think that younger talent level is really starting to shine, and I think you're definitely right. I'm with you on that one.
We got Alex Payne. He's going to be there. Felix Waugh, one of the first guys to enter. So you talk about just a couple of the young guns that are definitely going to be in attendance. So I think that definitely is going to add to that. Alex Jankowski is coming. So there's another younger driver looking to kind of etch his name into Alltech. Somebody asked, will Darren be there?
Yep, he'll be there.
There we go. Maddie giving the answer. Yep, Darren will be there. Interesting question here from Jamie. Notice Rudolph has the GSR chassis all lettered up. Any idea if he's taking the car to Florida or one of the Bicknells? I'm not sure, Jamie. That's a good question. I can kind of look into that. I can shoot Eric a text and I can find out for you here. I'll write that down on my notepad. Literally, see, I have a notepad. I'm not lying. You've seen it. I'll write that down. Is he bringing the GSR car to Florida? That's a great question, and I'll see what I can find out for you on that, Jamie. That's a good one. So Darren will be there. I mean, again, I think we have the who's who, and again, we're super excited, all of us here at DTD TV, about getting that thing going. And I got to be honest, I just want to get it done. Like as somebody, as part of the promotional team for this one, you kind of look at everything that's going on, and it seems like it's a never-ending journey of things that need to be done. And it just, like, you think you're good. You're like, okay, we did all this, we're set. And then it's like, oh, but we forgot this, and this. It's like, son of a, and then you got to start, and you start digging for all that.
Yeah, you got a pretty good group around you. I think you shouldn't be worried too much. You can write down the list and be pretty confident in the product that you're going to have down there. So I don't think you got too much to worry about.
No, we're going to have good drivers, good racing. And Alltech, again, has produced great racing. They did put new clay down, new surface. So Volusia got new clay. Now Alltech got new clay. And I know Wendell, we know what we're going to get with Wendell, the owner of Alltech Raceway. It's going to be smooth. It's going to be shiny or tacky. You as you've said about Alltech, it's a little tricky. But no, it should be a great week. So we'll talk here for a few more minutes. If you want to give us a call, any questions for us, 315-878-7766. And I'll say just a couple of minutes. We don't want to go too much longer. I saw some comments this weekend coming out of the motorsports show. A lot of guys looking at the Bridgeport schedule, and Bridgeport did something a little different this year. We were talking about schedules earlier this year, and Doug Rose and the promotional team down at the Bridgeport Motorsports Park, also known as the Kingdom of Speed, kind of put out their schedule. And one of the things they did with their schedule was to kind of limit how much more or how many races the big block or the modified team has. They call it more of a family-friendly schedule, and kind of change some things. And I think it's pretty neat. I mean, what would you think of, Thunder Mountain or Brewerton per se, kind of giving you guys a little bit of time off every now and then, maybe once a month, where you get a chance to kind of take a breather, take a break? Or are you a guy, I mean, hey, I know you well enough to know you're probably going to say, I will race every day, any day of the week, wherever you want me to go. I know that, but how nice is that? Look, you got a kid coming now, you would maybe get some family time, to have a little bit of a break.
Yeah, I mean, the racer in me wants to race every day, every hour of the day, but I've talked to enough people to know there's a life outside of racing. So when weddings come up, I'm going. I'm not really worried about being a champion somewhere. At the end of the day, we go to win races and represent the names on our cars as best we can. So I'm not super worried about, and we have that luxury with my dad. He says to do it all the right way and not just do it to burn everybody out. But no, I think it's a cool deal to do stuff like that. And I bet if you did a poll of the drivers, they'd probably agree with you too.
Yeah, I mean, and I think fans too, look, if you want to go, I know, they're running Sportsman on some of those shows where the modifieds are off. But I mean, as a fan, look, I think the diehard generation is kind of going away. I mean, I don't think people go, when I was younger, I couldn't wait to go 3, 4, 7 nights a week. I mean, I once did a trek of almost 30 races in 30 days. I mean, I was pretty nuts. I did 143 races in one season. That was my most ever. But I think the modern day fan, I don't think you want to do that many races. I don't think they're, not knocking fans. I just don't. I think we're in a different world. There's so much else to do, so many other things in life. Now, I always give my friends grief about weddings during racing season. All right, most of my friends are racing people, I always say, "What are you doing? You're racing this weekend and you're getting married. That's a little bit of horse crap." Okay, we're not gonna, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, the racing, most of the time, the racing guys and girls, they know better. But I've got some family and friends that have weddings that aren't, they don't really care about the whole racing deal as much as we do. So, but no, I've heard racers say they wish they didn't skip out on weddings and other family events. So I'm gonna, kind of follow that path. And if I got things to do, I'm gonna do them.
Yeah. I mean, this summer I got to go to a wedding for the first time in years, and it just happened to fall on the same Saturday that Thunder Mountain was off. So that worked out for me. It worked out. The Thunder didn't have a race, and the wedding was that weekend, and I had a great time. I'm not going to say I want to go to every wedding, but that was fun. But, well, Maddie, any final thoughts here as we wrap this one up? We've reached our 8:15, 8:18 time here, kind of, running this one a little long, but that's okay. So it's fun chatting racing.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot, and we'll have some more stuff next week, and go from there. Getting ramped up, ready for All Tech.
Yeah, button it up, get it ready. I know the boys are, a lot of people leaving here this weekend, early Monday to head on down. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to next week's edition as we're really going to get into obviously All Tech's coming. And I'm sure we'll have some more to talk about. There's always topics, always things. And as always, feel free to shoot one of us a note on Facebook, on Messenger, comment on the show, or comment on the YouTube about maybe some topics you want, or, again, comment to me or to Maddie again on Facebook, and, we'll add them to our list. Again, we covered a little bit more this week than normal. I crossed off a lot of stuff that we got, kind of brought up there. So with that, well, hey, it's been a great time as always, Maddie. And thanks for everything Saturday, buddy. I had a blast shooting. Again, I got to practice. I got to get better, but it was a blast. So, and thanks for again tonight, and for all of us here at Monday Night Modifieds, for Eric Schenk, our producer, for Matt Smith. My name is Mike Mallett. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you right back next Monday night, 7 p.m. here on our Facebook and YouTube channels.